All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. So, as you can see by the description of this video, we're going to look into the Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan fight. One of the most, in recent memories, one of the most controversial disqualifications. I mean, honestly, I can't even remember the last DQ we've had, especially one of this magnitude. Have there ever been any disqualifications for a championship fight where it switched hands like this? I can't recall it. Maybe you guys know, let me know. I mean, it can be in UFC, Bellator, One, Pride, whatever. I can't remember one. Strikeforce. So, yeah, going into this. All right. So, I'm going to let you guys know my opinion, where I stand. I was going to, release or make this video, rather. I was going to make this video immediately after it happened. I was going to make it on Sunday, the day after, and then also debated on whether or not to do it yesterday. The reason why I didn't is because I kept going back and forth of how I felt about it. It's a tough one, guys. It's a tough one. I've gone back and forth. I wanted to kind of sit on it, rewatch it a few times, also hear some other opinions from some of the fighters, some of the other media outlets that are out there in the MMA community. And so a couple ones I want to reference. And the reason why I wanted to reference these two is because they're some of my favorite ones to watch. So Chael Sonnen, some of his YouTube videos, and then also the Weighing In podcast, which is, it's awesome. It's got Big John, it's got Thompson. And that's one of the best ones for this particular situation because you have a former fighter and Big John, one of the best, if not the best ref, for combat sports and especially MMA, the pioneer, if you will, being with the UFC way back in the day. So but they had two different opinions. Chael and then the Weighing In podcast, those guys both had two different viewpoints. And, I agree with both in a way. I agree with both of them. They both came to the conclusion like, okay, yeah, it swapped hands, whatever, but I don't know, guys. So this is, either way, this is how I feel about it. And I'll let you guys tell me if you feel the same. I mean, so a lot of the buzz going around is, oh, he was hurt. That was an illegal knee. Of course, he was out of it. He should have, that's exactly what should have happened. They should have called it this and that. And then you got the other side going, oh man, Oscar of the Year goes to, just referencing Darren Till and TJ Dillashaw for examples. They were saying that immediately. And that's interesting because those are two fighters that have a very good perspective of what it's like to get hit, get knocked out. I can't remember the last time TJ Dillashaw, or I'm trying to remember the last time he got just knocked out. I mean, I know the first Cody fight, he got rocked there towards, I think, the end of the first round. Then we all know how it ended up playing out, him beating Cody. But Darren Till got knocked out by Masvidal, I mean, heavy. So he knows. And then you've got, like I said, you got the other opinions of, Big John, in terms of just the officiating side of it. And what he was saying is, and I totally agree with it, and I was saying this even during the fight, why are you saying, Mark Smith's over there talking about telling the doctor and everything else, and he says it a few times. I told him he was down, it was an illegal knee, all this. So if Aljamain Sterling was going to get up, now he has no incentive. And if you go back and watch it, I mean, he sits up, and then out of nowhere he starts hearing that, and whatever. Neither here nor there. So Big John was talking about you never do that, especially in the circumstances that we're in with no crowd. You can hear everything being said. So he's saying you don't say that when you're a foot away from the fighter. If he was fine and gonna get up, he's losing the fight. The first round was the only round that kind of went his way. Just because he's pushing the pace, it's not like he did anything. But the first round's the only one, and then he's losing the fight. It was getting out of control, out of his hands. He's getting pieced up. He was getting taken down. I think Jan was 6 for 6 on takedowns. Sterling was 1 for I don't know, it was a ridiculous number, like 1 for 15 or whatever. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but either way, he was getting just outperformed, outclassed that whole fight. And had the illegal knee not happened, unless something crazy happened in the 5th round, he was going to lose that fight. So, that being said, can you blame him? Can you blame him for doing what he did? Whether he was hurt or not, only he really knows that. We can all sit here and speculate this or that. But honest to God, though, I can't blame him. You got to get your money, son. That's all I'm saying. Because now he's the champion. Regardless of how he got it, he's the champion now. So he's going to get championship fighter money from the pay-per-view buys the next time he fights. He's getting that money. He's the A-side now. Regardless of how it happened, the numbers aren't going to be able to tell, well, he got this from a DQ. No. The numbers are still going to pay him as if he's the champion. So, business-wise, and this is another thing on the Weighing In podcast they touched on that I totally agree on. Business side, it's a smart move. Even if he could continue, it's a smart move. He was losing that fight. He knew he was losing that fight. So why not? Why not? But my opinion on it is, I agree with stripping Petr Yan and it swapping hands. It was an illegal knee, regardless. But what I don't like is a lot of people kind of saying, he's a dirty fighter, this and I don't agree with that. Petr Yan was winning that fight. I don't think he intentionally did it. You got, his corners over there telling him to throw the knee. And then you got Mark Smith. Mark Smith said that he was a downed opponent. Yes. But if you go back and watch it, he's saying he's a downed opponent when his hand is down on the ground. And after it happened, you can see Petr Yan immediately after, when they separate them, you see Petr Yan talking to his corner, talking to trying to tell Mark Smith, doing his hands like this, like he's up, like he was up, right? So I get the confusion. There's also that language barrier. Petr Yan does not have the strongest English. So when his hand's down, and that's when Mark Smith is saying he's a downed opponent, his hand comes up, and it looks like he's starting to try to, and he had his hand on his head. Maybe he felt his head raising up. Because he was obviously pulling up, his upper body was pulling up, his knee was on the ground, so yes, he's down and it was an illegal knee, but I see from Petr Yan's perspective, you're in there, the adrenaline's flowing, you got another man that's right here trying to hurt you, trying to take your belt, your money, everything. So it just out of nowhere, boom, just like that. I've never been in that situation, so who am I to say, but I feel like if we're all just setting aside everything, you got to see both sides. You have to. I see why and how it happened to Petr Yan, of why he did what he did. And then I also see Sterling's side. Let's say he wasn't as hurt as he was letting on. I don't blame him for... You're losing that fight, man. You're losing that fight. Take the money and run. You're going to probably get a medical suspension. You got plenty of time, but I can already tell you one thing, though. And I can't blame him here either. I don't think he's going to want that rematch anytime soon. I think he tweeted out and said, we'll run it back and everything, but I guarantee you it'll be closer to the end of this year. Maybe we might see those two again. I don't know, September, October at the earliest. That's earliest. It could be January of next year if he really, really milks it. Says he hasn't been training the whole time during the suspension. Medical suspension, that is, and I need another 12, about 10 weeks to, for a fight camp. So I don't see that one being run back too soon. But what I would like to see is okay, if Petr Yan gets the immediate rematch, and this is one thing I don't agree with, Chael Sonnen talking about rewarding him for doing something illegal, giving him the immediate rematch, and why do they have to do that? Come on. It was not intentional. He's human. He made a mistake. There's a communication barrier there, language barrier rather. He clearly thought he was coming up. You got his corners over here yelling at him to do something, and you can hear everything. So you can't be that hard on him. It was an illegal knee, yes. It was not intentional. I really do not think it was intentional. So if he gets the immediate rematch, I'm totally cool with that. Totally fine with it. But on the flip side, let's say, to play devil's advocate, you don't give him the rematch immediately. Uh, I wouldn't be mad to see TJ Dillashaw and Sterling go at it for the championship. I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that, especially after TJ tweeting out what he did about the Oscar goes too. I think that'll give you some good back and forth. We didn't get to see that a ton with Jan and Sterling just because, again, of that language barrier. It's kind of tough. I mean, you had a couple nice little gems in there, like the mouse comment and stuff like that. But, yeah, wouldn't mind that one either. The only thing I don't like is now you're going to have just that lingering in the back of your head of, well, Peter Yan saying, well, I never lost it, I was beating you, and Sterling could be like, oh, well, I was about to do this and that. I mean, you could just what ifs all day, So, yeah, I go back and forth. Well, I mean, when you watch the way he acted, I really, really and truly think that he was letting on a little more than what, letting on he was hurt more than what he really was. And that's my opinion on it. But don't blame him for taking it. Smart move on his part, especially business-wise. Get your money. And in a fight that you're losing, nevertheless. But when you go back and look at other people that have really been concussed and knocked out, I've been concussed. I've caught an elbow in this, right in the temple and been concussed. Not knocked out, but concussed. And I'm telling you, I definitely wouldn't have been able to talk like what he talked, right? I mean, when he went and was speaking to everyone, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I mean, the lights were killing me. The lights, I couldn't even tell you what happened after. And everybody around me said I was just talking nonsense anyway. So, but can't blame the dude. But when you look at other people, they don't act that way. They really don't act that way when they're really knocked out or really concussed. I mean, look back at Anthony Smith. He had the same opportunity. He could have taken that and ran with it. He could have, but he decided to fight on because he was all right. And I think he took a way heavier shot, and it was from John Jones. So, that's the controversy here. And I know I'm probably going to get eaten alive for saying that, but I really do think he was putting on a little bit more. But again, can't blame him. Cannot blame him. Who am I to say I wouldn't do the same thing? I probably would have done the same thing, honestly. Just being real. Come on, guys. You're getting your tail kicked the whole fight. And what incentive do you have to get back up when you can get, this is a championship fight here. There's money on the line. So, yeah, it's one of those tough ones. I go back and forth on what my opinion is on it, but I wouldn't mind them running it back. I hope they run it back. I don't think Petr Yan did it intentionally. I don't know, guys. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. What a mess we are in with this one. But, hey, I'd love to hear what you guys say, what you guys think. Should Petr Yan get the immediate rematch? Do you think Sterling was letting on a little bit more? Hey, like I said, I'm a hardcore fight fan, starting this channel for other hardcore fight fans. I want this to be a community where we just kind of get that dialogue going, that back and forth. I love this sport. I love talking about the sport. So, yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether you agree or disagree, and let me know why. But either way, guys, till next time.